Okay, so we're talking about two compound inequality cases. One case is or, while the other case 2 is and. If you're looking at a graph and you find that the rays are opposite and pointing in opposite directions, then it's going to be an or type of problem. If you find that you have a segment, you're going to have an and problem. And so it goes a little something like this. Okay, so the same thing. Rays that point away from each other signifies an or problem, and a segment signifies an and problem. Okay, so in this one, we're given the graph, and we have to write the inequality, the compound inequality. So we notice right away that these rays are pointing away from each other, so we have an or problem. So now x is less than -1, or x is greater than or equal to -7. Okay, so same thing here. I wrote it down, we have an and problem because we have a segment here. And the problem that they give us, basically what you have to do with these problems is look at the graph and write out the compound inequality. So the compound inequality that would go with this from the Alex graph would be -2x is less than or equal to 7. So it's an and problem because it's a segment. On each end you have A and B. Those points could be depending on, like right here. Notice this is actually supposed to be a whole because this is less than, and a closed circle because this is less than and equal. So we do as an and problem because we have a segment. Same thing here, we have an and problem because it's a segment. Now if we were to write the graph, there's a circle at -2, an open circle, so -2 is going to be less than x and less than or equal to 0. So that's kind of how you read this too. So -2, you could say x is less than or equal to 0 and x is greater than -2, but it's just easier to read from left to right. So x is less than -2, or excuse me, -2 is less than x, and x is less than or equal to 0. I kind of didn't do very good there. Okay, so we have case 1 because we have two rays that are pointing in opposite directions. So one of the rays here is an open circle, and the other rays here is going to be a closed circle because the greater it's a greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. So we have x is less than 6 or equal to 6, then it rushes off that way. Or we have the open circle, x is greater than 2. So that's how that reads, and this is how you write it. X is less than or equal to -6 or greater than 2. You notice how it's less than or equal to -6. Okay, so we have another and problem. We know it's an and problem because we have a line segment. Looking at the line on the left side, we know we're going to have an open circle, and so this is going to have to be less than, and this is going to be a closed circle, so it's going to have to be less than or equal to. So we could say x, I'm going to read it from the middle, x is greater than 2, so we have that, right, but not including 2. And then x is less than and including 4, so you have this right here. Okay, so another and type of problem. We know that it's an and problem because by looking at the graph, we have a segment and not two rays. So on the left side, we have an open circle at -5, and then on the right, we have a closed circle at 0. So we're going to say -5 is less than x, and it's also less than or equal to 0, given that's how you get this little area right in here. So same thing here. I mean, I kind of want to show you where I got my graphs from. So here we have 1, and then we have, on this side, it's going from 5 all the way down here. So it's going to be x is less than or equal to 5, or less than but not equal to 5, and or x is going to be greater than or equal to 7. So x is less than 5 or greater than or equal to -7. Okay, so the same here. If we look at this, we have segments, so we know it's and. So x is going to be less than or equal to -3, and x is going to be less than 5. Okay, so here we have another one. We have an and because we know we have a line segment. And so x is going to be, so x is between the 6 and negative 5. So x is going to be less than or equal to negative 5, right? And greater than, but not equal to 6. So right here. All right, so again, the main point, if you have, actually, come on back here. So you have two compound statements. You have the or statement. And remember, that's going to be two rays that are going in opposite directions. So it's going to, x is going to be this, or it's going to be that. And for case 2, a segment signifies that you're going to have an and problem. So it's going to be, you're going to have x here, so we're going to say here, x is less than or equal to a, and greater than or equal to b. And that's it. Any questions? Let's get together, okay?